because of COVID protocols, everybody can't attend. But we know that there was so much interest that we had to make sure that the media did the other half for us. So I'm grateful, and thank you very much for covering. And no doubt, we hope that we end up successful at the end of it all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Alex Segbefia, who himself was a former Minister of Health under the NDC administration under former President John Evans Atta Mills. As I mentioned earlier, we have some government officials who are also here, former ministers of state, former appointees under the NDC government, and then also we have members of parliament of the NDC. I spotted Samuel Okujetua Blakwa, who is here. We're told that the other government officials would also, I beg your pardon, other former government officials would also be coming in shortly. And so we are going to be bringing you live coverage of the events here at the CD Conference Center, University of Ghana, where the NDC and sympathizers of former President John Evans Atta Mills are gathered here for the launch of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. 10 years on, the man John Evans Atta Mills is still being celebrated for his exploits he did for Ghana, for the party, and then also for many who are gathered here to witness the event today. So like I mentioned, very shortly we are going to be having the guests and persons who've been invited to mount the podium to give their thoughts and speeches. I've also seen some members of the diplomatic corps here. The U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Madam Sullivan, is also here at the moment. So she is part of many other persons who have gathered here for this special event. Kofi Totobikwachi is here. I can also see the aides of the former president and appointees. And what we do know is that former President John Evans, I beg your pardon, former President John Dramani Mahama will also be coming through shortly. And whatever he has to say to the party, to Ghanaians in general, we'll definitely be bringing that to you on TV3. So do stay with TV3 for this special coverage of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. 10 years on after his passing, the party is still celebrating and marking his achievements and exploits, and to make sure that the memory of the man we're talking about, Professor Sumdwehene, as many call him, would not be forgotten. Stay with TV3, there is more for you. Anniversary of the passing of former President John Evans Atta Mills. They are launching, the NDC and the party for that matter, and sympathizers of the former president are launching the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. And there are quite a number of dignitaries who are gathered here, members of the diplomatic corps, former government appointees, former state officials, all gathered here. And I've also cited a number of NPP officials who are, from my sources, are here to represent the government. So you will be seeing them in your shots also. We spoke to one of the organizers of today's event, Alex Segbefia, who tells us that what they are doing is to make sure that the memory of the man stays on for as long as possible. We are trying to get a number of them to speak to, but like Alex Segbefia said, they wouldn't want to, give out all the details. They would want the program to flow as it should. So very soon we'll be giving you shots of what's happening in the auditorium. This is live from the City Conference Center, which is at Legon, University of Ghana campus Legon. Briefly, let me take you to through some of the expected programs or persons who will be mounting the podium. Kafuide is the Master of Ceremony. There will be an introduction of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage, which will be given by the chair of the event. They will unveil a special John Evans Atta Mills logo, and then also a presentation would be made for the former president. And that will be done by Dr. Cadman Mills, brother of the former president, John Evans Atta Mills. Our sources tell us that the former president of the NDC, who is currently the former flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, will also be coming through. So we are going straight to the podium as the program commences in a jiffy.
This is it's going to be broadcast on TV as well, live TV, and we would like to keep the middle part of this area clear as much as possible. We don't want you crossing the cameras. We have about 6 or 7 cameras straight ahead, and when you cross here, you cross the cameras, and we don't want that to happen. So kindly use the aisles to the left and the right, and let's try and keep this place free. In the next 5 minutes, the law will come into full effect. So you have 5 minutes to cross here as long as you want, and then in 5 minutes time, we will bar any movement in this area so that the people watching can have an unrestricted view of what's happening here. Thank you for your compliance, and we'll start this event very shortly. Thank you.
Going back to the podium where we're going to be hearing the speeches of some of our invited guests who are here for the event. And primarily the NDC and sympathizers of the former president have gathered at the CD Conference Center here at the premises of the University of Ghana, Legon, for the launch of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. And a number of things we're told are going to be taking place. Some of the invited guests are going to be giving speeches, and I have spotted former government officials, current members of parliament on the ticket of the NDC, and then also some public figures. We have Yoni Kolendi, the legal luminary, who is also here as one of the invited guests. I've seen Kofi Totobi Kwache, who is a former government appointee. Also, there is Dr. Omane Boama Felix Kwache Fosu, who under former President Atta Mills were presidential aides, and some of them were deputy ministers and ministers. Also, we have some members of parliament. I saw Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, who is also here. There are members of the diplomatic corps as well. We have the U.S. ambassador who is here with a few other foreign dignitaries who've been invited to this special launch. We are told that in the next few minutes the program itself will commence, but what we are doing here is to give you an idea of what is happening and what you should expect at home. And a quick run through the brochure that has been shared. We're told that there will be special remarks given by the chairman of today's event, who is in the person of Nana Kobnan Ketia, the fifth, the Sikado Hene in Sekendi from the Western region. He will be the chair of today's event. Also, the welcome address will be given by Nana Oye Bampo Ado, who is the secretary to the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. She is the secretary to the board or the committee. We spoke earlier to Alex Segbefia, who is the chair of the board that put together this event. And I'm sure that the camera will be showing you some of the other dignitaries who have graced today's occasion. The organizers tell us that it is to make sure that the memory of the former president stays on or lives on. 10 years on after his passing, the party is putting all efforts in place to remember him and to mark him and to make sure that he is not forgotten. And so, again, we are told there's going to be a special logo which will be unveiled to mark the not just the event, but then the memory of the former president. There will be a special presentation from the family of the former president. That will be led by Dr. Cadman Mills, who is the brother of the former president. A documentary on the life of the former president would also be shown, and then also specific areas and the significant impact that the former president made when it comes to the area of education would also be shown to the gathering here. We have some chiefs and people from the diplomatic corps, people from the some chiefs and elders of various communities and regions are also gathered here for this event. And you know, it's proving a bit difficult to speak to the dignitaries, some of the dignitaries who've gathered here, because they all give the indication that this is they are just here to observe and support, so they actually wouldn't be able to tell us specifically what to expect, but then they are all here to support this, what they have described, some have described as a noble cause to remember the former president who, until his passing, was called by many as the Asumdwe Hene because of some of the exploits and public commentary and public speeches he made, where, for instance, at some point in time there was an issue in neighboring Cote d'Ivoire and he made the comment of Ziwufiasem, as in focus on what is your issues at home, domestic issues. So he is being remembered by many people differently. So we are going to be speaking to Elvis Efriye Ankra, who himself was an appointee of the former administration, the NDC administration. Mr. Elvis Ankra, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We know that primarily this is to celebrate the life and to make sure the memory of former President John Evans Atta Mills is not forgotten. But can you give us, why the party deems it fit 10 years on to still mark the legacy of former President Evans Atta Mills?
It is said that a nation or a society that does not honor its heroes is not worth celebrating. And we all know the quality, the dignity that President Atta Mills brought to governance and politics in this country. He served this country faithfully with the highest level of integrity. Even though he served for a very short time, he made a great impact on the country. It's instructive to note that it was during his time that the country achieved the highest ever economic growth, which is 14%, unprecedented in the history of this country, and it was the highest economic growth in the world. So, and if you look at his personal qualities, his advocacy for peace, for conciliation, for all of us coming together as Ghanaians, and we called him the Asumdwe. So it's only proper that after 10 years, we will celebrate him and use him as an example so that people will eliminate his sterling leadership qualities.
We have also seen some of the key personalities that have been invited here, chiefs, elders. We've seen members of the clergy. We've seen people from the other the main political opponents, the NPP as well. But the central message, especially to the youth and persons who are even yet to enter politics, would be what exactly? Just to emulate and learn from the former president, I believe.
So he's a man who stood for truthfulness, who stood for honesty and integrity in politics, who stood for unity of purpose, all of us coming together as Ghanaians to achieve a common purpose. And these are attributes that you can clearly see that we lack and we require in this country to move the country to the next level. So it's important and it's imperative that at this time that we are celebrating him, we should all endeavor to ensure that all these qualities become part of the political culture in the country.
We're grateful for your time, Mr. Elvis Efriye Ankra, for making time to give us a few words. He was a former sports minister and then also an appointee of the former president, John Evans Atta Mills. So, as I mentioned earlier, very shortly we'll be going to the podium where we are told the program would commence, and when it does, we will bring you live coverage here on TV3. So, I am Martin Esiedudati. In a few seconds, from all indications here, the program is about to commence. What we'll do is we'll try and get the thoughts of some of the invited guests here on how they remember the former president. and the kind of memories they have of him, so we can bring that to you also on TV3. So do stay with us. Stay with our live coverage of the launch of the memorial service, the memorial heritage, I should say, of former President Professor John Evans Atta Mills, the Asumdwehene.
My brothers and sisters,
we still remember his principles.
I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana.
We still remember his discipline.
If it means transferring everybody, I will give him the authority to do so. If it means changing all the people in customs, I will do so.
We still remember his sense of humor.
if NDC Team B can perform this well in 1 year, they should wait for the Team A. When the Team A comes, they will see what is going to happen.
On Tuesday, 1st February 2022, at the CD Conference Center of the University of Ghana at 3 p.m. The governing board will introduce and launch the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. The man John Evans Atta Mills, 10 years on, he is still the Asumdwehene.
Yehia nkabom etim na account yamfa nko bebiara.
We still
My brothers and sisters,
we still remember his principles.
I, as president of this nation, will never initiate or support any attempts to legalize homosexuality in Ghana.
We still remember his discipline.
If it means transferring everybody, I will give him the authority to do so. If it means changing all the people in customs, I will do so.
We still remember his sense of humor.
if NDC Team B can perform this well in 1 year, they should wait for the Team A. When the Team A comes, they will see what is going to happen.
On Tuesday, 1st February 2022, at the CD Conference Center of the University of Ghana at 3 p.m. The governing board will introduce and launch the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. The man John Evans Atta Mills, 10 years on, he is still the Asumdwehene.
Yehia nkabom Etim na account yamfa nko bebiara.
If it's nice, you hear it twice. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the launch of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. 10 years on, the man, John Evans Atta Mills. It's my distinguished pleasure to be your master of ceremonies. We're going to start with an opening prayer, and I'd like to call on Reverend Julius Kumsun, pastor at the Legon Interdenominational Church, for the opening prayer, right here at the University of Ghana.
Please, shall we pray? Our God and our Father, we give you praise and glory. Thank you so much for the gift of life. We thank you for the privilege we have this afternoon to be gathered here to celebrate what you did through Prof. John Evans Atta Mills. Father, we commit every aspect of this program into your hands. We pray that your Spirit will take total control. Let everything go on in accordance with your purpose of your will. And in the end, we'll be careful to give you all the praise and all the glory. Thank you. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Your Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency President John Agyekum Kufuor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. My name is Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, and my role this afternoon is to present to this honorable gathering and the millions joining us via television, radio, and online, the chairman of this auspicious ceremony to launch the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. The Advisory Council and the Governing Board settled on Nana Kobna Nkesia V, Esika Dohini, as the chairman for this afternoon's ceremony. Nana is a historian and educationist with a PhD from the University of Calabar in Nigeria. He has a number of African-centered articles to his credit. His work in African culture and in governance and development has actually received acclaim and, of course, very positive reviews. Nana has chaired both the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board and the board of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. He has headed the National Planning Committee of the National Festival of Arts and Culture, the Advisory Board of CARE International Ghana, and also the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum Board, amongst others. He has also served on various committees and commissions. Nana has lectured at a number of international institutions such as Clark Atlanta in the United States of America, University of Limpopo in South Africa, University of Birmingham, the University of Ghana, the Takoradi Technical University, and the School of Railways and Infrastructure Development of the University of Mines and Technology. Nana is the chair of the Advisory Board of Water Aid Ghana and the Nana Kobna Nketia, the fourth trust, which is in the process of putting up a museum on African tradition and culture. He is also the deputy chair of the Bisa Abriwa Museum, a director of the Pan-Affairs Foundation, and an executive member of the African Heritage Studies Association. Nana is also a patron of the Osagyefo Genius Awards, the Ghana Culture From, and of course, the Kwenyanya Trust for Contemporary Art. He has also served as a member of the National House of Chiefs. Nana has received several awards of distinction as an honorary fellow of the Institute of Administration and Management Consultants. He is a rare treasure trove, and I was lucky enough many years ago to work with him when I served as a solicitor for the Ghana Shippers Authority and subsequently as Deputy Transport Minister. I also think of myself as a student and friend of Nana's. Nana, may I humbly have the privilege of inviting you to the podium to address your audience. I thank you.
Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, Nana Opoku-Agyeman. It's so difficult calling you Your Excellency, isn't it? Nana. My very special friend, senior brother, and advisor, Mr. Kwame Pienim, who always describes me as being so far to his left that I sometimes seem to be on the right, but I'm always right. I've also been told that the former president is coming. He's either coming or he's being represented. So at least his presence is here one way or the other. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if I haven't mentioned your name, forgive me. I've seen my senior in school, the one who used to bully me, Mr. Newman, used to bully me his way. And then one of my little boys, Dr. Bikwache, sitting down there. So it was quite a pleasure and a surprise when I was asked to come and chair this very unique occasion. I was hoping it wouldn't come on because for some time now, I've been a bit depressed over so many things. You know, when you sit in Ghana and you think about Ghana, sometimes it's difficult to lift yourself up. Oh, Your Excellency, I've seen the ambassador too. Yes, yes. But on the more serious side, when the name Atta Mills was mentioned, all that I said is, I cannot disappoint Prof this time. And he understands me wherever he is as an ancestor. In the year 2000, when he was struggling to be president, was vice president, he didn't pay a courtesy call on me and was used as part of a campaign against him in my area. Oh, Prof. Mbwazi, I think it was just a slip. Because when they don't come, you really have your peace of mind. So I was sitting at home one day in Cape Coast, where my farm is. And then some nice NDC boys that I knew came to see me. It was the second round. Oh, Nana, Prof did not see you the first time. So we think that we have to create room for him to. I said, when do you want him to come and pay a courtesy call? This was about 4 p.m. So that the following morning, I said, how? I said, okay, we'll organize the elders and so on around. They came to Iskado. They had about 150 to 200 people, elders waiting for them from various villages. Brilliant speech, brilliant speech, brilliant speech. Now this is the nicest part, talking about Prof's sense of humor. When Prof left, I was talking to the elders and I said, what do you think of this man? And one of them said, you're a yimpa papa. Oh, yeah, yimpa. You know, to refer to a human being as a human being has its meanings. Then I asked the next question. So are you going to vote for him? This was the second round. So the Nanchaban Watwe, we one bantam. I just loved, you know. From then on, we hardly ever met, once a while and so on. Then he invited me for a position. I came to Accra, being called to the castle, coming from where I come from, the cultural state that I come from. If I invited to the castle, I don't know whether you're going to be in prison or something of the sort. So I carried a retinue with me. And in that interaction, Prof did something that most of the people in the room did not understand, but I understood. I don't want to go into details, but that's when I knew that Pepe, he knows where he comes from. He knows where he comes from. He knows the roots. That brief interaction, about 5-10 minutes, he earned my unique respect. Of course, he put me on a commission that I didn't know much about, but later on realized that I wish he hadn't. I won't tell you the name of the commission. But any time that I was going to sit in a trotro and come to Accra to attend a meeting, I'll be singing Saba's song, In Serving My Country, the land of my birth, within her borders. I don't have need for reward, and I'll come and go back. So that was Saba. But Prof instilled that Saba spirit in me. Of course, I don't think there's been much maligned person in this country as much as Prof. But in all those things, you could see some consistencies about him. He had his own mind. He had his own mind. Our good friend, our big brother Jerry would do this. Prof knew, and he stood by his words. Remarkable. This was a man who was forthright about things. And I remember that when there was the stories about many cats, killing many cats, many ways of killing cats. Prof came and stood by the Constitution, stood by the sanctity of appointments. Because everything that he made up his mind to do, it wasn't about him, it wasn't about today, it was about the future. And I really did admire that. Every step, every word that he said, there were many ways of killing a cat. But was it necessary to kill the cat? No, the Constitution mattered. The future mattered. Standing by your word mattered. So that was Prof for him. I used to think that he came from Takwa, because his little sister used to keep things in our house, and then go to Takwa for holidays. So all the time that I thought the Atta Millses were from Takwa, then later on they moved to Commander and so on. But why I'm bringing these things in, that getting to know people, you have to know them by the roots. Character always matters. It's something we forget in the hubris of politics. A person's character shines. And what we saw Prof within that office, both as a vice president and as president, was a man of character. And a state is always, from me, a chief, a state is a moral being. Once you lose the moral authority, you've lost the state. You've lost the capacity to rule. And Prof always had that morality about him, in his behavior, in his discussions. Even the humor you hear right now, you were laughing. That was him. And the way he spoke to customs, you see the sincerity of the person, that this is me, and I'm going to change me today or tomorrow, and so on. I could go on and on about Prof. I remember talking to one of his friends during one of his campaign. And I said, he's not making any promises. And he says, no, he won't make a promise. We've advised him not to promise, because he's somebody that if he promises, he will die to keep the promise. Then one day, I heard Prof say that we are going to cut the petroleum prices drastically. And I called my friend. I said, the man has made a promise. Of course, he came and cut it down, but not drastically, but at least he kept the promise. The most important thing here was that Prof was a sportsman. I would always remember him for this. But in this particular era that we are in building the future of this country, in building the future of Africa, you always need people of principle. And in keeping this thing going, Prof. Smith, 10 years on, is remembering him that without principles, a state does not really exist. As we say, Chamia Okahan, not jade a man wegu ewie, a chief, a linguist who speaks with folk tongues is the death of the state. If Prof says A, it was A, and he kept to the A. And these are the things we need to encourage. Today, tomorrow, the day after, for those to come after us. On the committee that I was appointed into, let me say, I didn't know of anybody who was NDC. I only knew somebody who was NPP, interestingly, because he had served in an NPP finance office. But the rest of the people, everybody he appointed them because I presume that they took me because of merit. So we were all there and we're discussing Ghana's future, and that is what matters. And this always takes me back to chapter 6 of the Constitution, which is usually neglected. And for those of you who are mathematicians, my people, Your Excellencies, forgive me, I should have introduced the queens and the chiefs. Otherwise, they won't let me sleep tonight. But the most important thing there is that in that chapter is a chapter of inclusiveness. And I challenge most of you here, go and look at the people Professor Mills appointed into various places all over the country. Find out how many of them were from Prof's ethnic group. And you'll be surprised by the percentage. It's something that always amazes. This is a ship of state, and it floats or kept aloft with everybody being on board. I remember seeing Senior Mate once, and he was talking about the workload. I'm sure he has forgotten, but I understood the workload because Prof had decided to cut down cost by every means necessary. And they were not sleeping. I'm very much aware of his God-centeredness and trying to reveal the power of God or the act of God or the beauty of God through the work he did. And that came out in his simplicity. Now, the last thing that I'll say before I go and sit down, I was with one of Prof's cousins, and he just came to me with a shock. He might be in this room. Why? Some people went to see Prof, offering him, what a lot of African states suffer from, offering him some inducements for some work. The work had already been approved. Then the people asked Prof, what would you like us to give to you? Prof said, like what? Oh, we could put a house, factor a house, a couple of houses in there or something. Prof looked up and told them, I have 2 houses in Accra. I don't even know which one to live in. And you want to give me a house, please forget it. And these guys were surprised. That was the integrity. We laughed about it, but at the same time too, we felt sad for those who chase material things. Prof had character and dignity above everything, and to him, Ghana mattered. And because of that, I cut across so many rivers. Across the River Pra, in spite of the sadness about what happened in Apiati. And when you come to Accra, it's a headache. Got into traffic, wasting my life sitting in a car. But I said, for this one, I won't disappoint Prof. So I'm not here because of you here. I'm here because whoever Prof is, he's seeing me. And I hope he encourages me to follow his footsteps. Thank you.
Many thanks, Nana Kopanan Ketsia, the 5th Esikadohin, secondly, the Western region, for your joyful memories of Professor John Evans Atta Mills. We'd like to say Hello to Mr. Kofi Mills, son of Prof. Mills, here with his lovely wife. The Honorable Frida Akusia Prempe, MP, is representing the President of the Republic. She's here with us as well. And Mrs. Matilda Emisa Atta, former Second Lady of the Republic, is also here with us. Thank you. Next, to welcome us to her own domain, which is here, the CD Conference Center at the University of Ghana, is the first Vice-Chancellor of this great university. Let's welcome Professor Nana Aba Apia Amfu. And we're live on Wezo TV, on TV3, and on Metro TV.
Thank you, Kafui. Nana Chairman, Nana Kwabnan Ketia the Fifth, Your Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency, the former President John Agyekum Kufuor, and Mr. Chair, permit me to stand on the existing protocol and recognize everyone who is here. I don't want to fall into the trap that you did and mess people out. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure for me as a landlady of this event to welcome you all to the University of Ghana. I'm really excited that we are all gathered here today to celebrate an illustrious son of Ghana who gave his life in service to his country and to this university. Everyone who knows the name President John Evans Atta Mills knows that he offers a triple heritage. The first, I am proud to say, is as a lecturer of the University of Ghana School of Law and the University of Ghana Business School. To this day, his colleagues and former students attest to his brilliance as a lecturer and his dedication to the service of the university and to his students. The second heritage is as a taxman. The reforms that President Mills initiated as the Commissioner of the then Internal Revenue Service were the beginning of a modern system of taxation for Ghana. And the last but certainly not the least is the heritage as a politician. We knew that President Mills was a politician of a kind who exuded peace in the midst of an often turbulent political terrain. This, we know, earned him the nickname Asumdwehene, and he indeed demonstrated peace at all times. He was a father for all and the father of the nation indeed. And he lived this throughout his life until his untimely death. Someone may say that you can talk about a fourth heritage, which is sports, but that one I'll leave to my senior professor, Dodu, to do that. As we reflect on the heritage of President John Evans Atta Mills today, may I urge my colleague lecturers and students here to come to the realization that a great life, a beautiful heritage, can begin right here at Legon, and it often does. I welcome you all once again and wish you a meaningful and rewarding celebration of the heritage of a great servant and an outstanding leader. I thank you for your attention.
I like the way she described herself as the landlady of this place. Professor Nanaba Apia Amfu, Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, thank you for your welcome. It's a special event, so we have a double welcome. That was the welcome from the landlady, and now we do have the Secretary of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage to welcome us in a special way. Nana Oye Bampo Ado.
Minyanum, my brothers and sisters, a very warm welcome to the launch of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. We welcome our distinguished president, former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Nana Chairman, Nana Kobnan Ketia V, Esikadohen Akwaba. Our speakers, we are delighted to see you. Nime, Name, Wulomeng, Mimbanye, Umanye. Your Lordship, Yoni Kulendi, representative of the Chief Justice of Ghana, Minority Leader of Parliament, Honorable Members of Parliament, Reverend Ministers, the representative of the Chief Imam, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Chiefs, a warm-hearted welcome. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nana Abba Apia Amfo, and my own Vice Chancellor, Professor Akilak Basoya, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, a cordial welcome to you. Professor Mills Nebusiafo Akwaba, special guests, the labor unions of Ghana, student leaders of NUCS, TAIN, SRC, TESCON, and also other special guests. It is our utmost pleasure to welcome you to this launch. Weep not, for I am not dead. I am alive and awake in the Lord. Ghana will not die. Ghana will live to declare the works of the Lord. These are significant words from the everlasting message of President John Evans Atta Mills, third president of the Fourth Republic of Ghana. 10 years ago, at 2:15 p.m. on the 24th of July, 2012, President John Evans Atta Mills passed on to glory. Indeed, Professor Mills is not dead. He lives through the launch of this memorial heritage. 10 years ago, tributes poured in from all corners of the world, across the length and breadth of Ghana, attesting to the loss of an anchor of our democracy, a symbol of pristine political consciousness and tolerance in a cutthroat political environment. 10 years on, we, each and every one of us in this auditorium, are here to celebrate, to remember, and to immortalize a man who had exceptional intelligence, a drive to achieve, was uncompromising in the defense of his principles, and a great sportsman. In her tribute to her husband, Mrs. Nadu Mills described Prof as a blessing to his family, Ghana, Africa, and beyond. He is described as the essence of generosity, compassion, and mercy. As a symbol of selfless humanity, he was God's sacrificial lamb to enhance the quality of our democracy and introduce tolerance to the national psyche. He was a rare patriot and a humanist who offered quality leadership until his very last breath. His Excellency Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings described him as an outstanding vice president who served his role with full merit. The then Secretary General of the United Nations, Ban Ki-moon, said in his tribute that Professor Mills will be remembered for his statesmanship and his years of dedicated service to Ghana. Our own Kofi Annan, UN Secretary General, said Ghanaians must extol Professor Mills because he transformed Ghana as a model of investment possibilities. Prof's life itself is a manifestation of a Ghanaian dream. A young boy born in Takwa, playing football in Kisi in the KEEA district, could rise and become a distinguished legal luminary, could outdo his own success to hold the highest office in Ghana. All this while maintaining his core principles of humility, integrity, simplicity, accountability, and service to mankind. My brothers and sisters, the present may be challenging, but the future offers hope. Hope of new opportunities and new beginnings. 1st February 2022 is a new beginning. Today is the day the man, John Evans Atta Mills, Asumjehin, is reborn. What we present in the memorial heritage is an institution that immortalizes the legacies of one of the most reputable presidents of Ghana. Short of bringing Prof back to life, we have created a memorial heritage that speaks like Atta Mills, walks like Atta Mills, and thinks like Atta Mills, a perfect embodiment of his principles, thoughts, and aspirations. So welcome to the rebirth of the man, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, Akwaba to the launch of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. Medase.
Glory.
Indeed, now praise we great and famous men, the fathers named in glory, and praise the Lord who now as then reveals in man his glory, beautifully expressed by the very talented Winneba Youth Choir. We are grateful for the presence of the family of Professor John Evans Atta Mills. And we are glad that we also have a diplomatic representation here. We have the U.S. Ambassador here with us, the Canadian High Commissioner, the Kenyan High Commissioner, a representative from the Russian Embassy. You're all welcome. And now, what is it that we are launching today? To introduce the heritage to you, I want to bring on the chairman of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. Let's bring on Mr. Alex Segbefia.
Nana Chairman, Nana Kobina Nketsia, the fifth Paramount Chief of the Esikado Traditional Area. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of the Republic of Ghana. The representative of His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, former President of the Republic of Ghana. The representative of His Excellency, the President of Ghana, Honorable Frida Akosua Prempeh, MP of Tano North and Minister of State. Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, former Second Lady of the Republic of Ghana. The representative of the Chief Justice of Ghana, His Lordship Justice Yuli Kulendi, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, our host, current and past Ministers of State here present, current and past Ministers of Parliament here present, esteemed representatives of our religious bodies, Nananum, Nime, Name, Togbio, Mamao, members of the diplomatic corps, the esteemed family of the late President John Evans Atta Mills, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. His Excellency John Evans Atta Mills, late President of the Republic of Ghana, and the only President of Ghana to have died in office, was a unique individual who touched the lives of many people in a positive manner. The essence of his leadership is to give hope. And President Mill gave so much hope for a better Ghana for all. Forthright, calm, God-fearing, and God-loving. A man of peace and a father for all. Controversial as that may sound, given the circumstances of today's Ghana, President Mills ensured that he left an enduring mark, a legacy, a heritage in a country which continues to miss him 10 years after his death. He was incorruptible and a man of integrity, a rare combination in an African politician. He was also an intellectual of no mean repute and a sportsman par excellence, with a particular passion for hockey. He brought to bear on the Ghanaian presidency all these unique attributes of his personality. It should therefore come as no surprise that another organization has emerged to continue to advance the principles, values, and ideals this great son of our land stood for. On the 9th anniversary of his passing last year, a group of academics, professionals, colleagues, former appointees, students, and families
decided that an organization be created to preserve his heritage and his legacy. The group began to explore and expand on the concept of a Professor Mills heritage. From this group, a planning committee was established to actualize the concept. As a result, the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage was incorporated on the 14th of October 2021 at the Registrar General's Department as a not-for-profit, non-partisan, independent, charitable company limited by guarantee. It currently has a board of 4 directors, namely Dr. Sherry Aite, Honorable Samuel Atta Mills, Mr. C.C. Kwenu, and I, Alex Segbefia, as chairman of the board. Nana Oye Bampo Ado is our secretary to the board. An advisory council to the heritage has also been established. It comprises Mr. Kwame Pienim, Mr. James Bebaku Mensah, Mr. John Henry Mate Newman, Professor Agnes Atia Apusika, Dr. Esther Ofe-Abuaji, Togbi Apede the 14th, Agbobo Mefia of Asogli State, Mrs. Yvonne Boating, Alhaji Dr. Ahmed Vanderpoy, Dr. Kadman Atta Mills, and Na Al-Hassan Andani. The John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage is nevertheless a voluntary organization whose programs and activities are carried out entirely by volunteers. It is also funded entirely by volunteers. Indeed, this launch program has been funded by individuals and group volunteers. All who believe in the heritage of John Evans Atta Mills are therefore welcome to join the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. Our contact details, I believe, are contained in the program brochure, which hopefully all of you have got. The logo of John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage, which will be unveiled today, is made up of 3 symbols and 3 colors. There is a symbol to the left of an open book, which signifies President Mills' deep involvement in academia, specifically in the areas of law and taxation. There's a symbol to the right of 2 hockey sticks and a hockey ball, which signifies his involvement in and contribution to sports. In the center of the logo is a presidential stool, which signifies his role in governance, in which area he rose to become the #1 gentleman of the land. In terms of colors, there's green, which signifies the fruitful farms of the land of his birth and its potential for development of the economy. Then there is gold or yellow, which signifies the richness of the land of Ghana in minerals and resources which yearns to be exploited for development. Finally, there is white, which reflects the purity and integrity of President Mills. The vision of the heritage is inspiring humanity for a better society. The mission of the heritage is to promote John Evans Atta Mills' unique view of society, to cause positive actions in strengthening democratic values and human advancement. Our strategic objectives are to continue to deepen the legacy of President John Evans Atta Mills' excellence in academia, sports, and governance, to build and protect the President Mills brand as a model servant leader who invested in his people, and to engage in charitable work. The values and principles of the late professor we wish to project and inculcate within our people are passion, excellence and integrity, effort and inclusiveness, accountability, commitment, and not the least, humility. In pursuance of this, we have developed a program of activities for the heritage to cover a year-long celebration of the 10th anniversary of his death. There will be a series of John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Lectures, which will cover all the regions, possibly clustered into zones. The highlight of the lecture will be a major lecture to commemorate the 10th anniversary of his death in July, the month in which he died. The activities will also include infrastructure projects, sporting activities, academic scholarships, especially in the areas of law and taxation, will also be arranged. Nana Chairman, I would like at this stage to pay a glowing tribute to all those who have contributed to bring the heritage into existence and to make this launch a reality. In particular, I would like to mention the Heritage Concept Group that met on the 24th of July, 2021, to give birth to this organization. The members of the Heritage Planning Committee, the individuals and groups who contributed so generously to make this launch such a remarkable success. Nana Chairman, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a man who knew President Mills very well will be delivering the keynote address at this launch, during which I'm sure we will all be served with further and better particulars of the lives and times of President John Evans Atta Mills. I will therefore at this juncture conclude by saying that it is my singular honor and pleasure to invite the former President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who was also Vice President to President John Evans Atta Mills, to make a few remarks and to unveil the logo of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. I thank you very much for your attention. Your Excellency.
Former President John Dramani Mahama, as he makes his way up the stage. Yeah, let's keep the applause flowing, please. Thank you. To make a few remarks and then unveil the logo of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage.
I don't know what it is about beards. It looks like Kafui has grown a beard. I just saw Segbefia Alex has also grown a beard. I don't know whether it's time to grow a beard myself. But it looks like that's what's in fashion. Myself and Prof were very clean shaven and I've continued to maintain that tradition. Nana Chairman, the Advisory Council and Governing Board of the Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage, representative of His Excellency, the former President John Agyekum Kufuor, representative of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, representative of the Chief Justice, representative of who else? Looks like everybody is represented. Her Excellency, the former Second Lady of the Republic of Ghana, Matilda Emisata, and let me stand on the protocols so well established by the chairman of the board of the Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. There's so many people that it will take more time to acknowledge everybody. I want to thank you, Mr. Alex Segbefia. And many of us have forgotten that your middle name is Percival. As chairman of the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage, for the invitation on behalf of the Board of Directors to unveil and launch the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Heritage logo. Appropriately, the heritage seeks to inspire humanity for a better society, a virtue that President Atta Mills lived and died for. Professor John Evans Atta Mills simply was a good man. It therefore gladdens the hearts of many millions of people who loved him that this decision was taken to launch the Atta Mills Heritage here on the campus of our alma mater, the University of Ghana. This is because it was right here on these very hallowed university grounds, the hill of knowledge and the nation's hope and glory, where we are taught to proceed in integrity and truth, that Professor John Evans Atta Mills honed his distinct values and also laid the foundation for the ultimate mantle of leadership that God placed on him in the latter stages of his life. He earned his enviable reputation on this very campus even before his call to higher office. Professor Mills left a lasting legacy here on this campus through his teaching, his mentoring, rigorous intellectual endeavor, and physical activity through sports. As a matter of course, Prof became an organic part of this university's history. He lived by the ethos of integrity that the university advocates when he eventually entered national politics as vice president and ultimately as president of the Republic of Ghana. These values never deserted him. Unfortunately, this philosopher king and servant leader of a president did not live with us as long as we would have wished. On that dull and hazy, overcast day of 24th July 2012, death unexpectedly snatched him from us, leaving a shocked nation in sorrow, anguish, and in tears. And my following reminiscences are the first time I'm talking publicly of this sad event. That fateful day, I had been alerted that I would be asked to act because Prof was likely to travel to Nigeria. I was informed by his secretary, Sir James Bebaku-Mensah, that he had requested specifically that I stand in for him at the official launch of the Brand Ghana project, which was to take place at the International Conference Center. I attended that function with the Chief of Staff, Mr. John Martin Newman. Upon our return to the castle, which at that time was still then the seat of government, as I proceeded to my office, I asked Chief of Staff Martin Newman to inform Prof that I was going to cross over and see him to discuss a few important issues after meeting with a former president who was waiting in my office. Moments after our return, the Chief of Staff called me frantically and said that Prof had been rushed to the 37 Military Hospital in an emergency. I wrapped up my meeting with the former president and prepared my staff to rush to the hospital. It was then that Sir James Bebaku-Mensah entered my office and delivered the devastating news. Prof dead. How? How can Prof die? Were the questions I asked. The world came to a standstill. Nothing in my political life and experience had prepared me for a moment like this. The shelter of working under Prof had been a wonderful experience. His death left me in trepidation of stepping up to the plate, realizing the huge responsibility one was stepping into, and that the buck was going to stop with me and no one else. The swearing-in ceremony was a blur, and I struggled to complete my acceptance speech without breaking down in front of a sorrowful nation. When I left the podium, I missed my way back. I went and sat back in my vice presidential seat until the uproar from the MPs reminded me that I had sworn the presidential oath and should move to the ceremonial presidential seat. The rest is history, to be narrated at another appropriate time. Professor Mills was my boss, my comrade, my mentor, and my friend. He was tolerant, he was kind, he was fair, but he was firm. I'm proud to have honed my political skills at his feet. I know there are many also who revere Professor Mills as their teacher and their mentor. He taught in this university for over 25 years, and contributed to producing many astute legal practitioners from the Faculty of Law, and also contributed in producing many fine business minds from the then School of Administration, which is now the University of Ghana Business School. Our gathering here today to celebrate once again a man who sacrificed his very life from humanity for academia, for his country, and above all, for his God, for Jesus Christ, is proper and befitting. I believe the launch of the Atta Mills Heritage, which is anchored on his values and principles and is aimed at inspiring humanity, including the youth of Africa and Ghana, for a better society, will further emphasize his legacy. Already, Prof's name is befittingly assigned to a significant number of national infrastructure across the country. These include the John Evans Atta Mills High Street in Accra, the FPSO John Evans Atta Mills, which extracts oil from the 10 fields, which are both named after him. Similarly, the Community Day Senior High School in his home area, Otium, which happens to have been the first of the E-Block initiatives to be completed, which I had the privilege as president to have commissioned and named after him. Here at the University of Ghana, the School of Law's modern building is named after both Professor Ikuya Kunyehine and Professor Atta Mills in appreciation of their collaborative effort in the construction of the edifice and their remarkable contribution to the teaching of law in Ghana. While I was serving as Prof's Vice President and as head of his economic management team, President Mills grew Ghana's economy to a level that remains unprecedented. Borrowing his own words in 2011, that year Ghana's economy grew by over 14%, the highest in the world, with both non-oil and oil growth contributing equitably to this feat. Typical of him, even before this growth would be realized, the gracious professor had earlier paid homage to his predecessors in his first State of the Nation address to Parliament in February 2009. In the chair at the time was the Right Honorable Joyce Bamford Addo, Ghana's first and so far only female Speaker of Parliament, nominated by President Mills in his quest for gender parity. And I quote him here. He said, "Madam Speaker, Kwame Nkrumah laid the foundation for oil and gas exploration in Ghana. J. John Rawlings created the institutional framework for its exploration and exploitation. The oil and gas was struck in commercial quantities in the period of John Agyekum Kufuor. Actual commercial exploitation is beginning in the period of John Evans Atta Mills. And in between us mentioned are others who played a very important part. Prof was the one to share credit and glory. Nana Chair, this is the man we celebrate today. Magnanimous, gender sensitive, a unifier, peaceful, and above all, God-fearing. As a Pan-Africanist, he never hid his distress over historical and contemporary exploitation of Africa, which propelled the growth of Europe and America, leaving Africans in poverty. Therefore, as president, he was determined to use the oil and gas wealth for the greater benefit of Ghanaians, for Ghana and all Ghanaians, irrespective of our backgrounds. And this is why he passed the Petroleum Revenue Management Act, the PRMA, through which the ABFA, the Annual Budget Funding Account, the Heritage Fund, the Stabilization Funds were created. These have helped us immensely in managing our oil revenues, and even only recently during the COVID, it was money accumulated under my administration in the Stabilization Fund created by Professor Mills that was used to provide funds for financing government's initial response to the pandemic. As a social democrat who believed in social justice, He laid a robust foundation for the socio-economic advancement of Ghana. President Mills purposely invested in Ghana's greatest assets, the citizens, particularly its youth. Seeing great potential in Ghana's future through education, he encouraged the study of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, through the Mathematics, Science, and Technology Scholarship Scheme, which was named Masters, for secondary and tertiary students. He also actively involved eminent scientists in his quest for science education, research and development, and innovation for national development. His partners in this endeavor included Professor Emeritus Francis Nkrumah, son of the founder and first president of our republic, Professor Irama Adi, the first Ghanaian female professor of natural science, and also his friend Professor Francis Kofi Ampenyi Alote. As president, Professor Mills increased the capitation grants introduced by President Agyekum Kufuor by 50%. He enhanced the school feeding program and embarked on an ambitious construction of infrastructure in secondary schools across the country. Under his leadership, the University of Health and Allied Sciences, UHAS, in the Volta region, and the University of Energy and Natural Resources, UNER, in the Brong-Ahafo region were established. In the health sector, President Atta Mills also equipped our National Emergency Response System with the importation of 160 new ambulances and initiated numerous health infrastructure projects across the country. These included the 100-bed hospital with a malaria research center at Tishi, the rehabilitation of the Tamale Teaching Hospital and the Adenta Community Hospital, and several other polyclinics and health centers. Prof was also very witty. He could provide on the spur of the moment intelligent answers that could make you smile or laugh. As the chairman recalled, and I hope you all recall, the issue of many ways of killing a cat. A judgment in the courts had gone against government, and our chairman at the time, Kwabena J, was ranting against the judiciary, and the issue about many ways of killing a cat came up. A journalist asked President Atta Mills at a press conference about it, and his savvy and witty response was, "Look at me, come closer. Do I look like a cat hunter?" He believed in the genuine and true independence of the judiciary and was ready and willing to protect the judiciary and the justice delivery system at all costs. I'm sure you also recollect the Ziwu Fiasem during the Ivorian crisis. This was also pregnant with humor. But most importantly, it's a statement that requires interdisciplinary research into the origins and nuanced meaning of the rich Fanti proverb, Ziwu Fiasem. Prof detested comrades undermining each other. He had a practice of detaining the person who had come to make a negative report about a colleague to him. He detained you in his office. He quickly had the colleague about whom the report had been made brought to his office quickly. He then asked the one who had made the report to repeat what he had just told him. And in Ghanaian parlance, we say, "Come and see stammering." Nana Chairman, my brothers and sisters, these and many more recollections of this inspirational son of the land are the reasons Prof was and still loved by so many. For those familiar with the anthem of this great university where President Atta Mills studied and worked, you realize the earlier part of my speech drew on our motto, Integri Procedamus, to wit, proceeding in integrity. Integrity sounded loudly and was defined by Prof in all he did. As I conclude, I call on each one of us Ghanaians to uphold truth and integrity and the peaceful nature of Prof. Let us stay united, even in the face of adversity. Let us uphold tolerance. Yes, we must endeavor to proceed in unity and in truth. We must also strive to defend the cause of freedom, and we must fervently uphold the public cause to protect our democracy. This is why Legon, the hallowed ground upon which we stand today, always calls on her products and all Ghanaians to arise and arise and arise to defend the cause of freedom and proceed in truth and integrity to make our nation proud. Refreshingly, these attributes of the University of Ghana intersect harmoniously with President Mills's personal values. His quest for peace, for which he was named Asundwehene, his quest for excellence and integrity, transparency and accountability, commitment to the well-being of all Ghanaians, and inclusivity. I'm glad the heritage seeks to build on from where he left off in a non-partisan manner. Above all, these values are what made Professor Mills a true Ghanaian. He embodied that ideal Ghanaians yearn for to collectively transform our country. Let his values lead us. Professor Mills was such a moral and political colossus, and there can be no limits put on the vehicles and instruments that eulogize and ingrain his memory and history in the hearts and minds of Ghanaians. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and honor to be joined to do the unveiling of the logo by Sami Atta Mills and the chairman of the board of the Atta Mills Memorial Heritage. I thank you very much. And God bless us all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Atta Mills Memorial Heritage is duly launched. Thank you very much.